Much love to Brad, big fan of his, but I'm gonna be a bit critical here. Unless this is against a recreational player, this is a punt. Largest bluff of your life. Oh my god. Fucking shout out to that. Respect to the Brad.
Welcome to the Mushroom Paradise, boys.
Get your sets out in the chat, boys. Oh, Reba. If this is bluff, I would literally take a crap in my bathroom and go chow down on it. I would have checked, seen pocket eights and be like, yes, yes, I'm the best. Woo-hoo! Get you.
Table, but it's already shown a propensity to be aggressive, particularly pre-flop. 3 bets to 400. My hand is too good to fold. I call for 280 more. We're heads up in position.
I might have played him.
Puts out 10-9-7 rainbow. We have a gut shot straight draw, 2 overs, and a backdoor flush draw. In addition to that, it's a good flop for my range. Small blind checks. Might only have ace high. I bet 500 to get folds out of those combos. Small blind comes out of nowhere and puts in the check raise to 15.
So I like the bet win check too. We bet 500 into 880. I would probably go a bit smaller because the reason to bet is that you're trying to just get folds from the hands that are going to be check folding anyway. I'd probably just bet a third with my bluffs and like half with my value hands, something like that. Maybe 2/3 of my value hands.
100. We're playing fairly deep. It's only 1,000 more for me to call. I'm in position and there are a ton of cards that can improve my hand. I call to see if we can get.
I don't know, man. I don't know if he has enough 8x to be able to justify doing this. So the reason that you might want to call is that we're so deep that we just crush. We just annihilate an 8. This check raise on the flop is just never a bluff. And if it is, it's going to be like a couple of very specific hands that are just going to keep barreling the turn anyway. I would probably lean towards a fold here, but I can definitely see an argument for calling.
Lucky one time in a massive game. And we don't.
Jack.
The turn is the ace of clubs. It's quite a bad card. To make things worse, the opponent announces that he's all in. This isn't an all in that you'd see in a smaller game. This is a shove for $8,000. It's over twice the size.
What would you guys do if it was the ace of spades? No, that's the question. That's the question.
I fold. I have no idea what the opponent.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the villain just probably has 10s there always, 9s and shit.
Made that play with. All I know is he wins a big hand.
Good. That was a trick question. Anybody calling off with the king, queen of spades there? Bad boys. So good fold, good fold.
And against, I've got king, jack of diamonds and the hijack. Looks so nice. I raised to 120. The big blind is the only customer. We're heads up in position. Ace 10-5, all diamonds. We flop the nuts, and we've got the royal flush redraw. The opponent checks. My hand is almost too strong. 4 of the 5 highest diamonds are all accounted for. There's not a whole lot that I'll be able to get called by on this board. I check.
So guys, are we checking or betting the king jack of diamonds here? Bet. Check. Somebody, it's a couple of poofy Magneto. There we go. We've got a few checks in there. Guys, don't check back king jack of diamonds here. I can see some kind of argument for doing it if you really think the guy's mental and he's just gonna barrel off with just like fucking king deuce of spades if we check back and he's just gonna overbet. You gotta be betting here. Imagine if the guy's sitting there waiting to check raise queen x of diamonds. And then 6-7 of diamonds, 7-8 of diamonds, 9-7 of diamonds. There's so many combinations of flushes and we gotta stack them. Now, other than that, there's also ace-x. Ace-x with a diamond and without a diamond. 10x with a diamond we'll call. Maybe 10x without a diamond. Depends how big we go. And then he's also got some, the odd pocket 5s. And he's got ace-5 and 10-5 suited. You gotta be betting this. You can't just be checking back it. You can't do it. I really advise people not to do this. So shout out to Brad. I definitely understand the thought process of doing it. This is definitely a sign of somebody that's thinking about poker. I just think mathematically, you just gotta be betting this.
Check back to set the trap. The turn is the 8 of hearts. The big blind might have something, or he could be getting out of line. He bets 320. No more slow playing for me. It's time.
Interesting. Whoa, does he say no more slow playing for me? So Brad's raising here. What are you guys doing? Raising or calling? So most people are calling a couple of raises. Interesting spot. It's such a weird spot where it's like we've just checked back to trap. And then once we trapped, we're like, fuck it, I'm not trapping anymore. That's a good trap. I got my 320. It definitely feels strong. Like I feel like a lot of the villain's bluffs would just go smaller. So I'm buying that the villain has value here. The question is, how much value do we get by raising here? If somebody raises me here, and I'm sitting with 6-7 of diamonds as the guy that just led a pot, I'm not shitting you. I snap fold. Like, I pretend that I was bluffing. So raising here, I think you get value from sets. You get value from queen x of diamonds for sure, but I don't even know if you get value on the river from it if we go big. So I would much prefer a call and then raise river, where it looks like we can at least rep some bluffs, like ace king with the king of diamonds, kings with the king of diamonds, king 10 with the king of diamonds, things like that.
To make a move, I raise to 1,000. The opponent doesn't look like he wants to fold. Maybe he has a smaller flush, a set, 2 pair. Maybe he just doesn't believe me and has 1 pair. The big blind calls. This has become a large pot. I'm just hoping that we get a clean run out. Instead, the river is the 5 of spades. It pairs the board and no longer have the nuts. The big blind checks.
Phew. Phew. Okay, guys, decision point. We're betting or checking? And if we're betting, how much are we betting? Does the queen x of diamonds even call a bet? That's the question. If he's sitting there with queen deuce of diamonds and we bet 1,500, does it even call a bet? I don't know if it does. Who are we up against is a very relevant question, but assuming this is a good reg, I don't know, man. I don't know. So obviously the issue is the board pairs. Now we have to start looking at ace 5, potentially offsuit. So that's a fuck ton of combos. That's what, 6 combos? We have 10-5 suited potentially. It's another 2 combos. There's 8 combos. We've got 3 of pocket 8s because we checked the flop. We have 1 of pocket 5s. We have 2 of 8-5 suited. I don't know. I think I'm checking. it. And so all of those are obviously raising themselves. Now we have to look at hands that will call us. Queen x of diamonds is definitely the biggest consideration here. Now we have other hands that might call us. 9x of diamonds is the next one down. Ugh. If he has 9-7 of diamonds here, is he calling? Like I would have already folded the turn 9-7 of diamonds, but I'm definitely not calling the river. Oh man, I'm saying it now. I'm checking. Call me a nit. Call me the biggest nit in the world. I'm checking this nut flush back and giving like a sheepish grin to the recreational player on the table. Like, yes, sir. I checked back the nut flush. What are you going to do? I'm taking a shot.
Checking back my hand would be ridiculous. There are a variety of strong but worse hands that can call it bet. I go with my instincts and I'm best, and I make it 2,000 to mostly target small.
Oh, 2,000. Unless we're against a recreational player, I think this is a punt. Much love to Brad, big fan of his, but I'm just going to be a bit critical here. I'm pretty sure unless this is against a recreational player, this is a punt. We're really over-repping our hands here. Like, and it's an easy mistake for people to make, for sure, given that we have the nut flush. So, like, you know, that's a strong hand, so we bet big with our strong hands, kind of a polarized fashion. But because the ranges are so narrow and so value-heavy, because we raised the turn, after he'd already polarized his hand on the turn, like our value range on the turn is like king x of diamonds. That's pretty much it. Like there's no other value hands that we have. So now to bet 2,000 is just a bit like you're really over-repping your hand here. You're really over-repping your hand.
There's only one thing that I don't want to hear, and that's
no. Did you say 4,900 total? 4,090.
There's only once some hands like ace 10 and ace 8. The opponent has 4,090 total.
4,000. Oh, so he's min raising all in. Fuck my life.
There's only one thing that I don't want to hear, and that's
fuck indeed. All right, guys, get your decisions out in the chat. Are we folding or are we calling for the extra 2,000? So it's 2,000 to win a pot of 10k. So we're getting 4-1. Need to be right 20% of the time. All right, so this probably does separate somewhat of the wheat from the chaff in terms of the Twitch chat. I'm not saying Brad in general because I don't know what he does, and also when you're playing live, it's so much harder than when you're just analyzing on a fucking computer. But calling here is just not okay. Ranges are so strong. I cannot express how strong everyone's range is. Our range is strong, his range is strong, fucking everyone at the table has a strong range. If the dealer has a strong range, it's wild out there. Having the nut flush here is just not that nice. It's just not that nice a spot. And you have to ask yourself, does anybody in their right mind ever bluff this spot? Have you ever seen a bluff in this spot in your life? And between all of us, we probably played hundreds of millions of hands of poker. Have you ever seen a professional player take a bluff in this spot? Where we're repping the King X of Diamonds plus. And our bluffs are like, I don't even know what our bluffs are, like King 10 with the King of Diamonds. So if he does have something like Ace 8, which would be a classic hand to be turning into a bluff, he can just call if he thinks we're bluffing. And if he thinks we're not bluffing, then he's trying to fold us off the nut flush or better. It would be absolute suicide. Giving the other person 4-1, it would be absolute suicide. So I hope he folds. And if the guy's bluffing, the guy's bluffing, and I will leave. I'll never
Seems
talk
like
about
I've
poker
fallen
again.
into my own trap. If I call, this is going to be a pot of over $10,000, by far the largest one that I've ever played. I knew it was dangerous betting because with the board pairing, not only could the opponent have improved to have me beat, but I was pretty much only repping flushes with my turn raise after I check back the flop. Almost never have a full house given how this has been played because I would have bet flop with sets and 2-pair hands. My range is capped. There's a small possibility the big blind is doing this with a worse flush for value. I doubt he'd do this as a bluff, but I guess there's a tiny chance of that as well. I come to the realization that it's only about 2,000 more. I'm getting 4-1, and I can't fold for that price.
Oh no.
It's a call, man. You got it.
Oh!
Yeah. I've just gotten so fucked.
No, I heard you got it. We're like, fucking won it.
How much?
No, is that pocket eights?
The big blind has pocket eights for a full house. He turned a set and got there on the river. I had a 97.2% chance of winning on the flop. I get a nightmare run out, and I lose the maximum to get totally
he didn't even have a diamond. He didn't even have a diamond. So if we c-bet the flop, it just goes bet fold, and we're like, damn it. Why couldn't we just get value with our fucking King Jack of Diamonds?
I have less than 3,000 in my stack. I'm down 7,000 for this game. It's clearly not my day. I'm getting destroyed by the deck. I'm making some bad river calls. I should just go home right now. I don't think that anyone here would blame me. This will be my biggest loss ever if I pick up. Instead, I do something that I wouldn't recommend anyone else do if they were in the same shoes. I pulled out 10,000
yes!
more, and I doubled down.
Josh just said Charlie would have checked and quietly mugged. You obviously don't know me well enough. I would have checked, seen pocket eights and be like, yes! Yes! I'm the best! I would have called over everyone from other tables and be like, check spends enough flush, guys! He has a boat! Yes, everyone look at this, everyone take a photo! And that's why I'm not the most popular vlogger in the
Pick up King 4 hearts on the button. Cut off opens
Oh
at
no.
140.
Oh no. We're gonna V-pip King 4 suited. Button versus cutoff. Alright, if you're gonna do this, I would definitely recommend throwing in the 3-bet.
What's another 140 when I'm in the hole for piles?
No, did he say 140?
Not
No,
necessarily
no,
the
no,
best way to be
no,
thinking
no.
about things, but I'm only human. I'm trying to be truthful. I call, which is an action that I'm good at justifying to myself.
Guys, join me and make the facial expression you feel about this call. And I'm not having a go here at Brad. I've done 1,000 times worse when I'm steaming or if I just feel like trying to play a hand. 100% times worse. But the kind of expression I see as the onlooker that isn't tilted in the biggest game of my life. Okay, let's get back to the game.
Self in my head. The small blind 3-bets to 520, so immediately
I'm
gonna get punished for my somewhat light $140 call, right?
What I would love here would be a back raise. If he back raises it, it would be genius. Oh, imagine if he just goes 2,000 and the other guy's sitting there with kings like, fuck. You know?
Still in position and getting a good price, so I justify another call.
Ah.
In a large 3-bet multi-way pot. It's 875 with 2 diamonds and 1 heart. We've got a gutter, 1 over, and a backdoor flush draw. Small blind bets 800. I don't think that he'll have connected with the board all that often. Once the cutoff and I flat
I
the
don't know,
3-bet,
dude. So he says the small blind bet 800s, and he says, I don't know if he connected with it. So I believe the second statement would be correct if the first statement didn't exist. But when he c-bets into 2 people on this board, suddenly I'm thinking, okay, he's got like an overpair or better, or a flush draw or a straight draw. So I don't know how this hand is going to play out, but I'm already disagreeing with some of
that'll
this.
connect better with low to medium boards like this one. Cutoff calls. I'm getting 4-1 on a call with a hand that isn't that great. There are a lot of cards that can help me improve on the turn though. I call. The turn is a miracle 60
Yes,
clubs.
boys.
We drill the low
Unless
end.
they have a
straight,
9,
but
then
it's
shit,
tough to know
boys.
if we're even good. Small blind checks, cutoff checks.
They're both checked. The cutoff checking is the one. The guy that's 3-bet the small blind can definitely be checking his 9x here. It makes sense for him to check here because there's no way he would ever bluff this spot. So he's got to just be checking his nutted hand as well. But the cutoff checking, there's no way the cutoff checks his 9x. So we're just heads up in this pot at the moment. We're just heads up. You know, we know the cutoff might have a flush draw or whatever, so we got to think about that. But the only guy that might have a 9 is the small blind. Like 90% of the time we have the best hand here.
It's extremely unlikely that either of them would do that with a 9 in their hands unless they had ace-9 or 10-9 of diamonds exactly. I'm not letting another card come off without charging my opponents. I bet 2,700. If I get jammed on, I'm gonna throw up. Small blind is contemplating crushing my soul and sending me back to the 2-5 game for the foreseeable future. Full minute goes by before he folds. Cutoff folds without hesitation. We get a key win.
What do you think he folds there after a minute? Flush draw? Just a non-believing aces? The sizing I think is fine. Generally just protecting your hand at this point. You might be trying to get some value out of like ace-10 of diamonds, ace-jack of diamonds, those kind of hands as well. Wait, we just opened the hijack with queen 4 suited. Just to put that into perspective, that's like if you're opening in the 6 max cash games, that's like opening under the gun. Because there's a straddle here as well. So there's 5 people ahead of us. This is loose. We're still on tilt. Just to put that in perspective,
nice guy
in
away
case
from
you
the
guys are
table,
wondering.
but he's been annoying to play against. I've had enough of him. We're heads up and out of position.
We've had enough of him. That bodes well.
The flop is 10-9-8 with 2 hearts. We've got a flip.
So we're heads up. Hijack versus cutoff. All right, guys. What are we doing on this flop? We're out of position, so we're acting first. Are we betting or checking? If we're betting, what size? I'm checking most hands here. There aren't too many hands that I'm betting. And the reason for that is that the button's going to be betting pretty wide himself. And if he doesn't bet, you know what we can do? Check, check, turn, deuce of spades. We overbet because we can have aces. We can have some slow play queen jacks. We can have some pocket 9, whatever. We can have a bunch of hands. He can't have any of them. It's like a nice tool to have in your toolkit. In these kind of spots, check a large portion of your range and then overbet turns if they're check back.
Altogether, it's good for us. I bet 200 is a semi-bluff. The player calls without thinking too long about it. If he had a straight, set, or 2-pair hand, he'd probably take more time and possibly would have raised.
I think that's a really good analysis from Brad. I really, really agree with that. The fact that he really quickly calls the flop, it means that his pocket 8s, his pocket 9s, his pocket 10s, his queen jacks, and his 6-7s don't exist. They just do not exist. In fact, neither do his like ace jack of hearts really. So when he calls quickly on this board, it's like he's saying, yo, I've got either a kind of weakish draw that didn't consider raising, or I've got a marginal showdown value.
Probably has a 1-pair type of hand or draw himself. The turn is the deuce of clubs. That's as blank as it gets. I'm not in the frame of mind to hold anything back, and at least one of the queens is accounted for, making it less likely that I'm up against queen jack. I'm gonna rep a straight, set, or 2-pair hand.
I don't think the block is that relevant, especially considering he snap called the flop, but whatever. Love it.
Make nearly a pot-sized bet of 700. The opponent grabs chips and flats again.
So what I would be looking for on the turn, like I said, is I'd want to be value betting the turn. So in essence, I'm thinking, what's the biggest that something like Jack 10, Jack 9, 8-7 will definitely call? Because I'm so confident in my bluff on the river that I'm having at it. I'm seeing this as a turn value bet. Come at me, I'm an optimist. I fucking love it. Some random reg sitting there with 8-7. What do you think he'll call? Something like 450 to 500. Definitely feasible. On the other side of things, if he's sitting there with Jack 10, how much will he call? Potentially something like 800, 900, 700 I could see being an argument for. The actual answer doesn't matter, guys. Nobody knows the actual answer of whether it's better to bet 500, 450, 700, 800, 1000. I don't know what 8-7 is going to call. I don't know what Jack 10 is going to call. I don't know how much to weight either one of those. But what I am asking from you guys is have a consistent thought process. So what hands are we targeting and why? You know, are we trying to get calls so we can get folds on the river, or are we just trying to get folds on the turn? Have a strategy and have a bet size that follows that strategy. Because if you're not doing that, you're wasting your time. You're not thinking through poker as though it's poker. You're thinking just randomly like, oh, this is the size I'm meant to bet, which you see so much with poker players. Like, the solver says I'm gonna bet this size, but every spot's so unique. It doesn't matter what the fuck the solver says. Just bet according to your own logic, rationality, and intuition.
The river is the 4 of diamonds. And this 4th pair
beautiful.
is mostly a brick though.
All right, what are you guys doing on this river? So yeah, I agree. I think just going like fucking 2x pot, 4K, something like that. The other guy doesn't have queen jack. He might think that he has queen jack because he doesn't know that snap calling the flop means that he doesn't have queen jack. So I'm liking 4K.
I don't want to have to rely on my pair of 4s to win this.
Good.
I bet 3,000.
Yes!
Bluff.
Yes, Brad. Yes,
In
Brad.
my
Fucking
hand
love it.
isn't all that
Honestly, I think he's played this hand fucking beautifully. Apart from the open pre, which is he's tilted, so you know I respect that. I'd rather people play too loose than too tight.
He's staring me down to try and get a read on me. It's incredibly tense when you're sitting there overbetting the pot, hoping to get the largest bluff of your life through.
Largest bluff of your life. Oh my god, he went 3K on the river and it's the largest bluff. Fucking shout out to that. Respect to the Brad for this one.
Scrutinizing your every move. My opponent is extremely skeptical, yet he eventually folds.
Yes,
a massive bluff
boys!
gets through,
Yes!
resulting in us having an extra 5,000 in
Love
our
to see
stack that we wouldn't have had if we had gotten called.
I'm so emotionally
Kind of
invested in
adrenaline
Brad
coursing
winning
through
this.
my chin when I pick up pocket queens under the gun +2.
Do it.
Under the gun +1 opens to 120. He's been playing
All right, guys, we flatten or 3-bet. Oh, he's been playing
pretty snug.
pretty snug. Man, it's such a nightmare having Brad's image in this spot. Having a tight image is something I'm not accustomed to. So I don't even know if 3-betting's best here. Because when you 3-bet here, it's like you're repping queens plus an ace-king. So I actually think flatting here might be better.
Queens pre-flop before when I faced an early position raise. Here I 3-bet to 400. He calls, which I'm happy to see. Under the gun +1 calls.
So the straddle, you can start ranging him yourself. I would expect to see a bunch of ace-king. I would expect to see jacks, 10s, 9s, ace-queen suited, hands like that.
The flop is queen 3 deuce.
Yes,
ace
boys!
queen. We have
You're
top
welcome.
set and we're in. I just want to trap this moment in a jar and come back to it when I'm feeling down because this is special for me.
That's
The
funny.
opponent's check. I've got the best possible hand, and I even have backdoor spades to go with it. Now, how do I extract?
All right, what are we doing here, boys? I gotta be honest. For the first time this stream, I'm gonna say it might be good to trap. So he can have ace queen of hearts, potentially kings. He can have jacks, 10s, and the other guy can have probably all ace queen, so like 4 combos of ace queen, and then some flush draws. The other guy can have ace king of spades. I think in this spot you gotta be
The most
checking.
value, and opponents will probably have a lot of hands like middling pocket pairs. I bet 480 to keep one or both opponents
I like it.
in.
I like it.
Under the gun calls, he could have a hand like ace king or ace jack of spades. He could also have a hand like jacks. Under the gun +1 folds, it's heads up. Maybe I can get a clean run out this time. Nope. The dealer puts out the 7 of spades. Again, I flop the nuts and I get significantly downgraded in a large pot. Under the gun checks. I doubt a hand like jacks or 10s can call a second barrel. I don't want to get check raised again.
7.
I check back.
7.
The river is the 6 of
Fuck.
hearts. Realistically, doesn't change anything. Under the gun bets 500.
I'm pretty. You just got to raise this spot. Unfortunately, versus any other size, we're probably just snap calling. Versus big, we're probably folding. But I think versus 500, you just got to fucking min raise it or something stupid. You know, something really stupid. Something something funny.
He's probably doing this to get the showdown.
By min raise, by the way, I'm actually joking. I mean like 1700 or
Queen of
whatever.
hearts, maybe jacks or 10s. I have to forget about previous bad outcomes.
Oh.
Try to make the best decision I can in the moment. I raised to 1700.
Yeah, dude, I said exactly. Did I say 17 or not? I forgot. I think I said 1700.
You might just ship it in my face. That's been happening to me a lot lately. It doesn't appear to be what's going to occur right now. The player thinks that I might have him beat, but he can't find a fold. He puts his calling chips in front of me as if to say, I know you have the winner. I flip over the set. I imagine it's best. I'm so happy because this win would get my stack up over the 17,000.
Wait, are we not winning?
King throws the chips that he initially bet river with over my way
Oh,
too.
sick.
I'm feeling great. Then I realized that he hasn't returned his cards to the dealer yet. I don't
Nah.
necessarily have the winner.
You definitely have the
Slow
winner.
on me, are you?
King is a class act and shows pocket king.
there's no way that would be a slow roll. To slow roll and throw the money back, I wasn't sweating that one. I was sweating it a bit.
I want to isolate him. I raised it 200.
Small blind limps. We
Things
make
don't go exactly as
5x
planned.
out of the big
Player
blinds.
under the
Remember,
gun
there's a
calls
straddle
for
ahead of
160
us.
more.
Straddle
Small blind
calls.
calls as well. We're going
Small
three
blind
ways
calls.
to the flop.
3-way to the
Ace,
flop.
deuce, deuce,
620 in the
rainbow.
pot.
We probably have the best hand. Small blind checks. Without too much to worry about and a weak kicker, I check for pot control and pot.
What are we doing here? Are we betting or checking? So if you want to be betting here, it's definitely reasonable. You have to be betting really small. Because if you bet big, if you bet even like 250 or bigger, you're only ever going to get called by better. So you want to be betting small, maybe get a float from like King, Queen of Hearts, Jack, 10 of Hearts, maybe something like Pocket Nines. I can definitely see an argument for checking. I can definitely see an argument for betting. Either way.
Possibly to induce bluffs. Under the gun takes the bait, betting 220. Small blind folds, I call, we're heads up. The turn is the 7 of clubs, I check. My hand is under repped. It probably looks like I have some kind of medium to large pocket pair. The opponent announces a bet of 500. Yet it seems like he's trying to rep a big hand. This feels like a bluff. Maybe the opponent bet with some backdoors and picked up a flush draw. I call. The river is the 6 of spades.
I like how he's played
I check, hoping he gets checked back. The opponent instead fires for 1,700.
1,700.
Oh God, this isn't.
I'm just saying, shoving here would be beautiful. I know he's not going to do it, and I know that in real game almost nobody would do it, but shoving here would be so sick. You're repping ace, 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 deuce, and pocket sevens.
Nightmare. I don't have a clue
He would fold a deuce for sure.
what I'm up against. If I call and lose, I'm going to be down several thousand again. Even if I fold, I'm going to be down quite a bit. Something just feels fishy. I call. Ace 3 is not the winner.
Oh yeah, sorry. I should also note that when we look like an ace, it doesn't feel like the guy's bluffing. It looks like we literally only have ace X in our range. So it just didn't feel like the guy's just gonna choose that spot to triple off. So my bad. I should have said that before I saw the cards. But when we look literally only like top pair or better, people just don't take those spots to just triple off.
I've been playing for 7.5 hours. When I pick up Queen 6 suited in the hijack,
7.5 hours. Oh, man, these hijack opens with suited queens is brave when there's a straddle as well.
It's the same opponent from the last hand. We're heads up.
This is an under the gun.
Flop.
Think about playing 6 max zoom where people are folding like king jack off. They're folding like queen 9 suited. He's opening queen 6 suited. It's brave.
Comes 10-4 deuce with 2 spades. We've got a flush draw, 1 over, and a backdoor straight draw. I bet 200 to potentially take it down without having to make a hand. The button isn't going to let me. He raises to 600. This isn't a particularly great situation to be in. He could be doing this with some kind of better flush draw than me, like ace 3 or ace 5 of spades. It's only 400 more though. I call. The turn is the 8 of spades. We drill the 3rd nuts. I'm still not sure if it's good. I check to see how the button's going to play this. He's not easing my concerns. He fires for 1,300.
Okay, at this point, if the guy's got the ace of spades, if he's got the nut flush, he's got the nut flush. We ain't going nowhere.
Button isn't worried at all about the flush draw getting there. I make another call, knowing that I could be drawing completely dead. The river is the 5 of diamonds. I check. This pot has gotten really big.
Any size you want, my
Not all
friends.
that
It's all yours.
I'm even less comfortable when the button fires for $4,000.
Oh, fuck
It's
4,000.
absolutely insane.
I call, I fold. I call, I lose.
I feel like I have a bluff catcher.
Cool, muck.
If I call, it'll be a pot of over $12,000.
Cool, muck.
Break the record for
It is pretty much a bluff catcher at this point. It's hard to imagine that somebody would even go this size with like Jack 9 of spades. You know, they definitely could. They definitely could. But when both the buttons range and our range are so flush heavy, going this big, he's pretty much saying that he's got the ace or king high flush.
for the biggest
But
pot that I've
equally-
ever played,
Cool.
which was $10,000 when I lost that one a few hours ago. Don't have Amy to fold a hand that's this strong, so
I
I
don't
brace
either.
myself for the bad news one more time, and I put in calling chips. The opponent's quick to turn over Jack Deuce of spades.
Yes,
slightly smaller
boys!
flush.
Oh, he's got Jack Deuce of spades. It's the same guy. I've got a feeling the guy that we're playing against maybe isn't the best player in the world. Unless it's that Bruno guy. I've got a feeling that the other... Yeah, I
He
think
might
that's
like
a
Jack
bit
Deuce
wild.
suited a little too much. He gets totally punished for playing it this time. I have him notched to win by
Ah,
far
we
the
got him with the
largest
old
pot
Jack
of my
Deuce.
life.
Good
Excuse
hand,
the
Brad.
language,
Good
but
hand. I like how
what
you
a
played it.
fucking wild ride today has been. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I'm all the way out of the hole. This has been the most taxing cash game session that I've ever played. I'm completely mentally drained. I can't possibly express how happy I am to come back from the dead like that and actually have a solid win. I have to give credit to the opponent because
Get your
he
claps
is a
out in the
big
chat.
cooler, but knows this is a huge moment for me, and he's very cool about it.
Yeah, that was really fun. I will say just one more time, shout out to Brad for being a lad. He's being super transparent, super honest, super cool about how he's thinking in game. And any criticisms that I have and that we have in general, I think it's healthy just to remind ourselves that, you know, he's still crushing poker. You know, he's still in the top 5% of poker players on the planet right now, and he's playing stakes that allow him to be a full-time poker player, even if he weren't the biggest poker vlogger in the world. So shout out to that. I think there's a lot of respect and a lot of dues that need to go his way. He took a big shot, and he played some hands like a fucking boss. Like that Queen 4 of Hearts. Oh, that's beautiful. So always try to discern the difference between criticism and judgment, and I think it's always good to bear in mind that when you are criticizing somebody, it's no reflection on them as a person, and it has to be a dispassionate analysis of their poker game.